Okay, and I think we are live on Facebook now. Um, Double check. Yes, so we are. And so I'll give it a few minutes for people to join in, and then we can go
Okay.
ahead and start.
I sent tons of invitations out yesterday.
That's great. That is great. Um, so let me make sure.
Are we getting anybody?
There's a few people on here. I'm gonna see if it'll let me tag you in it so it'll show up on your page.
Oh, that'd be great.
Let me see. Okay, we are gonna go ahead and get started and just kind of let people flow in.
Okay.
So, hello everyone. Thank you all for joining us. My name is Adriana Stewart, and I'm currently a junior political science and sports medicine double major studying at Howard University, and I have the pleasure of serving as the PAWPAC social media intern. PAWPAC is continuing our interview series, with our endorsed candidates so that you all can get to know them. Today, I have the pleasure of interviewing District 9 Justice of the Peace candidate, Dee Sanders. Dee, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Adriana. Adriana, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I promise. But we're gonna go ahead and hop straight into the questions. So while we know you're a candidate for Justice of the Peace, can you tell us about who you are outside of the political realm?
Sure. I am from South Carolina originally, born and raised, as were my parents, grandparents, husband's parents. We raised our children there. Our children are still there. Well, our oldest is a chef in Charlotte, North Carolina. So, but the other ones are still in South Carolina. Business brought us to Arkansas. Nobody had ever lived outside of South Carolina. And when we moved, we had never stepped foot in Arkansas. My husband told his boss, 18 months, I can get this job done, 18 months. That was 10 years ago. And I don't want to leave. I just have totally fallen in love with Conway and Arkansas. So I don't want to go. I was raised in a home where I saw my parents be of service all the time. They were cooking food for people who had a sickness or a death in the family, always participated in our schools. And so I was raised with a sense that if you have, you give back and you serve. I was very lucky. I went to the University of South Carolina, and I have a degree in political science. Good choice. I planned to go to law school, ended up falling in love with the love of my life and marrying and having children. That was all 37 years ago. Best move I ever made. And I was lucky enough that I was able to be I want to say a stay-home mom, but I didn't stay at home very much. I was able to volunteer in lots of organizations, the kids' schools, all the time. I was deeply involved in an organization called the Cooperative Ministry, which helped people in need. And I think probably my proudest moment is that a girlfriend and I, well, she brought me in, and we started a school supply bank in the closet in her home. That drive, and this has now been 25 years ago, during one of my last times working the drive, people would come and get in line. We opened at 6, they'd get in line at 3 in the morning to get their children's school supplies. It was a backpack full of pencils and notebooks, and they would stand in line. And I remember standing and talking to a mother who had just gotten off her second shift job. And she got in line at 3 o'clock to get her children's school supplies. The need was immense. That school supply drive has now grown so much that it supplies every single child in the largest school district in South Carolina with all of the school supplies they need all year. So we did many other things, but that's probably the one that I am most proudest of. I went to Catholic school. My faith is very important to me. I became Episcopalian when I was in college. That's how I got my foot in the door with all of my dear friends here in Conway. I went to church the first Sunday, and it just sucked me in with the love that Conway does, and felt right at home immediately. So felt like I needed to be of service here as well. And I am state president for Church Women United, a member of the Daughters of the King at my church. And so I have done what I can the 10 years that I'm here.
That is amazing. Very inspiring story. That is wonderful. Just to kind of keep things going, what event or moment inspired you to run for Justice of the Peace for the 9th District of Faulkner County?
A dream in me that had been there since I was a little girl to be in office bubbled back to the surface when I was here and got involved with the Faulkner County Democrats, and this office became open. I'm running against an incumbent, but the person who ran against him last time, who's still very active in the party, chose not to run this time. So when this opening presented itself, and I have the time and the energy and the desire to be of service and to help, I jumped on it.
That's wonderful. And so, you are the very first Justice of the Peace candidate that we have to take part in our interview series, which is really exciting.
Yes.
But that said, I'm sure you've been put in instances where you've had to explain what exactly a Justice of the Peace is and what you all do and why you all are so important to the community. So would you mind sharing that with our current viewers and maybe shed light on those who are unaware of what the position you're running for entails?
Absolutely. And I'll be quite honest with you, when I talk to my friends and things back in South Carolina, I tell them it's very much like what we call a county council position. You hear Justice of the Peace and you think somebody's going into somebody's office to get married. And in all honesty, I'm not sure when I win this election if I'm going to be able to marry people or not. I think I just read somewhere that you have to have served 2 years to be able to do this. But it's a position on what's called the quorum court, which that is an unusual term as well. The quorum court is made up of 12 justices and a judge, because there are 12 districts in Faulkner County. They oversee anything that has to do with the county. So taxes that are taken in for roads, employee salaries in the county and their benefits, animal control, things that are really, really important that people don't think about. I mean, our roads are vitally important in the condition they're in. And Faulkner County reaches out to some rural areas that have dirt and gravel roads, and it rains really hard and people can't get out. So these are things that affect people's livelihood. And the sheriff's office, we've got some interesting things coming up at the quorum court meeting this afternoon. The sheriff's office is underneath the quorum court as well. So law enforcement. So important things that have to do with the county.
That is a wonderful explanation. And to shift into, your platform specifically, I know some of your initiatives include equal pay and women's rights. So can you speak to how you plan to tackle these areas within your community?
Well, the first thing is going to be, I will be a female face on the quorum court, which there is only one now, so that there's no sort of equity there. A dear friend of mine, Renee Henderson, and you'll be speaking to her, and Allison Vetter and Crystal Certain. We've got a good batch of women who are running for positions, not to minimize the men that are running as well, Barrett. But anything that has to do with equity in the pay scale for the county employees, benefits, that kind of thing. I'm a very big animal advocate. So we do not have a shelter. We've been sitting on some money that was put back to do a shelter. I know that really doesn't have anything to do with equity, but it is one of my positions and one of the things that I'm very emotional about and feel very adamant about, is that it's time for us to have an animal shelter here in Faulkner County. So I'm going to be here to listen to my constituents. That will be the most important thing. And then based on what they tell me they need and what they tell me they think, and a dialogue back and forth, that will be how I vote and my stance.
That's wonderful. And it's good to see that you are aware of some of the areas in which your community, needs work.
Yes.
We've touched on a handful of issues and topics today, but is there anything else you'd like to add or speak on?
I don't think so, except vote. People vote. It is, please, the thing that hurts my heart. The worst is to hear people say my vote doesn't count. I was reading the other day, I don't know, Adriana, you're probably not old enough to know who Al Franken is. Do you know who Al Franken is? Okay. He used to be, in the day, I believe he was on Saturday Night Live. Anyway, he's a comedian, but he ran for the Senate from Minnesota. He ended up having to fall on his sword and resign his seat when the Me Too movement started, and some old footage of him came out from literally 20 years ago when they had been in Iraq and Iran, the comedians, and he was teasing a female comedian. And this is a long story to say. He won by 600 votes. He won a Senate seat by 600 votes in Minnesota. People, get out and vote. This year, there's no reason that anybody should have to go stand in line. We have early voting in Faulkner County starting October 13th. You can get online and get an absentee ballot, and not wanting to be out in public around people is a very legitimate reason to have an absentee ballot. That can all be done from your computer. If you're in any district and you get on my Facebook page and you let me know that you need an absentee ballot, I will porch deliver it to your house. We will hold some registrations, but you need to vote.
You couldn't have said it better enough. This is a very, very important year. We all have to make sure we are doing our part to make sure that
we absolutely do
going well, and that we can progress in a much better way than
progress.
Right. So Ms. Sanders, I really want to thank you for taking the time to talk to me today and to discuss some key initiatives from your platform, to talk about why JPs are important to the community, to tell us who you are outside of politics. It was really amazing. You have a very, very bubbly personality, and I love it.
I'm excited about this. I'm so excited about being able to win this and take this position and help the people.
Without a doubt. And it shows, it definitely shows. And so I hope you all were able to take away some valuable information and that you were motivated and ready to go come November 3rd. So thank you everyone for tuning in, and we will see you next time. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody.